Hey y'all, it's Diana again. How y'all doing? Welcome back to a new installment of Woman Once Removed, my lunch story. Okay, tonight I wanted to talk in more detail about my trip to Bangkok in 2000. It was the most exciting experience of my life. I had always wanted to travel, and when I had the opportunity and an invitation to meet someone in Bangkok, gosh, I jumped at that chance. This was a really handsome man, and he offered me one of the most exotic vacations I have ever had, even to this day. And of course I was scared. At that point, I had never been out of the country. I didn't know anything about it, you know. I knew I wanted to do it. I knew that I needed to do it. I had been with my mother, taking care of her for about 10 years at that time. And I needed to get away and feel alive again. And this was my perfect opportunity. But like I said, I was terrified of flying and thought about flying overseas, over water, for 12 hours. It scared me pretty bad. But, you know, I thought, well, you see these little moths flying around? I have moths in my house, but I also have birds. So I'm afraid to spray toxic things into the air and then kill my birds. So I have to contend with moths. But so back to my story. So when you fly in to Bangkok, you have to always go through Korea, Seoul, Korea. And the layover in the Korean airport is like 9 hours. What do you do for 9 hours? I mean, you can only do so much. You know, back then, you know, I didn't have the kind of phones we have today, so you eat and you walk around, you sleep, but you have to make sure that if you sleep, because somebody doesn't steal what you've got. So, yeah, but once you get on the plane from Korea, it's in the air like an hour. So it's pretty close. I mean, you could have almost walked in the 9 hours that you're sitting in that airport. And all the flights coming into Bangkok like that, the overseas flights, at midnight. So I get into Bangkok at midnight. And when I get there, he was already there. Oh, he was so nice looking. But the bad thing was my luggage was lost. My luggage that had followed me from Columbus Airport to Atlanta had turned around and went back to Columbus. So when I got to Bangkok, I had nothing. I only had what was in my carry-on, and so I had to wait a full day to get my things. So I had to live in my traveling clothes for basically 2 days, and that was not fun. But from here on out, it was good. It was good. I got to see all of Bangkok and most of Thailand during a 2-month stay that we had, and it was great. It was great. I got to see the Grand Palace where Anna and the King of Siam lived. There was so much history there. I was so tickled to finally see something with my eyes that I had read about all my life. And at first we stayed in guest houses which are small family-owned hotels. And they're like, I don't know, $4 to $6, $7 a night for a private room with a private bath. And I mean, you couldn't beat that. Nice and clean. But then after the first couple of days, the guy I was with, he was smart enough to look at ads and find us a furnished room, furnished like a efficiency room, apartment kind of thing. Gosh, like $100 a month. We stayed there 2 months, $200. Can you imagine staying in a furnished room with a kitchenette and bed and refrigerator and bathroom, everything nice, very modern. Had a safe to put your valuables in for $100. They turned out to be the cheapest and most exciting vacation or place I've ever been to. And we had such a great time walking. This guy liked to walk, and we walked that from one end to that other of Bangkok. And then we went up into the mountains to Chiang Mai, which was the original capital when it was still called Siam. And you could see ruins of the original wall that was built around the city, you know, over 1,000 years ago. It was just so much history there. And it was nice and cool up there because Chiang Mai is in the mountains. And so, but Bangkok itself on the lowland was so hot and humid. I learned I could not wear makeup at all in Bangkok because it would sweat right off. But in Chiang Mai, it was just so beautiful. And we went to an elephant training camp up in the mountains in a village called Mae Ping, and watched the elephants do their little tricks and things. And then they took the elephants on an elephant ride up into the mountains. Well, I was rather large at the time. Cute, but large. And when it come time for me and my friend to get on the elephant, the Thai man looked at me and said, "No, no, no, too big, too big." And he motioned for the next elephant. I would have to get on the next elephant by myself. Well, I might have been a big girl, but I was a sissy girl, and I did not want to get on an elephant by myself. So I came off of that podium, because you had to climb up on this podium to get on an elephant. I had to climb back down in shame because I was too big. So after that, the guy that I was with, he went and had a great time. And he was kind of perturbed that I would bring him down by being upset over that. So when we left from that, the same guide was taking us down the Mae Ping River on a bamboo raft. And me and the smart mouth that I have, I said, "Are you sure that I'm not too big to ride this raft?" Oh no, come on. And I was in none too good of a mood, and we went down that river, and you could see where the elephants actually lived, where along the river. And there'd be these huts where people, the caretakers of the elephants, lived in the middle of this area. It was so neat. And then we stopped at this resort kind of thing down the river, and we took an ox cart ride up into the village where these native people lived, and then came back to a nice buffet lunch at the resort. That was very elegante chante, but I was still having an attitude. Because my feelings were hurt. We had come with a group of people. You know, they were all having a good time, and they were all riding together because they weren't too large. You know, I've had more concerns when I was heavy than I ever did being transgender. That didn't bother me. Being fat did. I don't have to worry about being fat anymore. But back then I did. But it still didn't stop me from traveling and going and doing. Fat girl will travel. But I had such a good time. And I hated leaving, and I hated leaving the person I had vacationed with. And it was just a sad time to go back to my reality. And after that, I was involved with Mr. Salameh, and all the rest, that's history. But I did have that 1-2 months of paradise. All right, y'all have a good evening. And if you haven't already done so, what you need to do, you need to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you can get a notification every time I put up something new. And leave a comment because I like to read comments. Okay, y'all.